I've been a big fan of yours for a while now, and I know that times are hard in Portugal, which is one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you because it's always interesting to share these difficult moments. But you've won in Formula Three. You finished the GP3 season last year with a very good win at Monza. So tell us where you're at right now. You've had a very good test as well in GP3 in the build up to this season.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like you said, it's been some difficult times here in Portugal. People I've raced against for lots of years, like Bottas and Jeff Verden. I see them stepping into F1 slowly, and that's where I'd like to be at the moment. But as you said, times are hard. But I've raced those guys. I've been tough against them, and I've got some wins. And last year was a pretty hard year for us. Things at the beginning they looked good, and they had everything to be good, but the season just didn't went the way we were expecting. Some problems just along the year, which made us the results were a bit limited, but we had a really good finish to the season with a win in Monza. It was a hard race against the best guys in the championship. It was a good way to finish and to prove that I'm still able to do it. I had very good years in Formula Renault and Formula 3, and I was expecting to be at the top there in GP3, and the last race was just the proof to that. And at the moment, in the end of last year, we had some good proposals to race in GP2. I did a GP2 race in Abu Dhabi, which was also good. I scored points straight away in the first race, finishing P7. And then the second race, I was running second the whole time. And with about 10, 15 laps to go, I was fighting with a guy in P3. And I had a drive-through because I went over the excess tarmac a little bit. But, overall it was a good way again to finish the year. And then even off to Macau, I was P2 in the qualifying, and I didn't even race F3. So, yeah, it was a really good way to end the season, always at the top in the last 3 or 4 races. And at the moment, we couldn't find the budget we really needed to make the right step into GP2. So the plan is just to stay in GP3, I guess, and with a little bit better conditions and a better family to go forward.
Antonio, you also drove the Force India F1 car in 2010, I believe, in the young driver test. And you went very well because you had a bit of a baseline there with Paul di Resta.
Yeah, that was a really good, that was a little bit of the dream coming true. I had a really good test. Di Resta was in the car in a little bit of the morning session just to set a benchmark. He had been in the car for lots of times before that, in Friday sessions, and it was not the first time for him. And he set us a benchmark, and then I had a few laps in the morning session, and then in the afternoon session, after jumping out of the car again and going back out, I was, in the end of the day, I was 1.2 seconds quicker than him, which was really good for a first impression in the F1 car. But even the best thing was to finishing P3 overall. Most of the guys were doing low fuel and super soft tires, like we did. And just finishing P3 at the same distance from P1 than what Adrian Sutil was from Vettel that weekend. And my lap time would actually been good enough for a P10 in the qualifying. Obviously, the track was in a little bit better conditions. But, I think that was the moment where I truly jump into the F1 shortlists and keep my name among the guys who I've been racing with.
Yeah, absolutely. And no doubt that you have the speed and the talent. As you say, 2011 was a little bit disappointing. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it looks as if qualifying in GP3, particularly on the Pirellis, is a really difficult thing relative to having a good setup in the race. And you did have some good races, but quite often you were coming from a bit too far down.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like if you race in F3 Euro Series or Formula Renault, basically the same car you have for the race, you bring it, the same car you have for qualifying, you bring it to the race. But in GP3 with the Pirellis, it's not really like that. You need to look carefully into that and to always take a very big care of the tires in the race. And even harder it is in GP2. Like the warm-up procedure for the tires is you cannot even push the throttle in the first 2 or 3 laps just to bring them in very, very slowly.
Antonio, you tested, I think, for Carlin, and most recently you drove for Status last year. So tell us a little bit on how you think it's going to go now with your plans for 2012.
Yeah, so the year with status, I mean, before last year, I knew status only from the A1 GP, and they were really good with Team Ireland. I mean, they won that, and they were always very strong. And I was a rookie driver for Team Portugal in A1 GP for a couple of races, so I got to know them there a little bit. And yeah, last year it was completely new. Actually, the status deal was made quite late in the year, because we were looking into some other teams, but they came with a really, really good proposal right at the end. And it was the first time in my career where I signed with a team without even testing with them before. So, I was a little bit anxious to how it's going to go. And yeah, as you said, it wasn't the best year in my career. And I think a lot of facts together make that happen. And but now the test with Carlin was just last moment. Actually, only 2 or 3 days before I was sure I was going to test, and also I live 5 minutes away from Estoril, so it was no problem. And Carlin is a team that I really really like. It's like a little family for me. Also, my brother Duarte, when he was racing, he raced with Carlin. So it's a bunch of guys I know really really well. They really like me. I really like them, especially Trevor Carlin. I raced in Macau with them in my first year. And yeah, I'm jumping in a plane tomorrow to Barcelona to have another go with them in another GP3 test session. And I'm really looking forward. Hopefully, we can bring a deal together for the season, because they didn't have the best season last year. They didn't have the most experienced drivers. I mean, Connor is a very fast driver, obviously, and they had Tom Dillman for the first race. But they were switching drivers all the time, and I don't think that's healthy for anyone, either mechanics, engineers, or any the drivers. So it was not a help for anyone. And I think if now with the experience I have, we can bring it forward and upwards and have a good year.
Yeah, and I imagine, I would guess it's a good time to join a team like Carlin after a relatively difficult year, because you can never ever count them out. What about Formula 3? There's a bit of talk about you having some sort of VW contract.
Yeah, I mean, I've been with VW for 3 years now, helping them and being more or less together. All the times I raced in F3, and I always made this very clearly to the people behind me that I always want to race with Volkswagen, because F3 is a category which can bring you forward into F1 in many ways, and especially with the family you start with. Obviously Mercedes as a team in Formula One, they have engines in Formula One. So at the beginning, it would be a better option to jump in with a Mercedes engine. But Volkswagen is in the Audi family. They work very very hard, and they are Chris Nissen is the guy to win with, I think, and he only likes to win. And so yeah, every time I've been in an F3 car was with a Volkswagen engine, and this has been helpful, because every time I have to go to Macau or jump in an F3 car, there is always a bit of help from Volkswagen. And yeah, F3 Euro Series has been a little bit tough times in the past 2 years. They didn't have the grid they were used to, but it's been so tough, especially the year I raced there with Eduardo Mortaro and Bottas, Sims, all the guys, very fast guys, Mary. So it's always been tough. When you look back, you don't have 20 cars behind you anymore, but the front pack is always the same. Yeah. And I think this happens in any championship. Yeah. And so yeah, there is also a little bit of talks to jump in the F3 car a few times this year, which would be good. It's not sure yet, but hopefully we can bring that forward too, and that would be perfect for me, because it's going to be a year for results and to gain a lot of experience, because I'm going to be in the car almost every weekend.
Well, Antonio, you've shown your pace. You've shown your pace in Formula 1, in GP2, GP3, F3, Formula Renault. You really deserve a big opportunity. I know 2012 will be a tough year for you, but let's hope, fingers crossed, that it works out for you. Portugal needs a new star. We had Diego Montero, and I know he's coming into GP3 now. What are your thoughts on Ocean coming into GP3?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the people might find out a bit strange. He's my manager, and people might find a bit strange that there's not been many talks for me joining Ocean in GP3. But the thing is, his decision was a little bit too late to join GP3. And the talks with Carlin were very much forward, and we are actually in the final decisions now. And Thiago is the first one to say, "You're my product, so I don't want to risk." It's the first time of the season of GP3 for Ocean in GP3, so I don't want to have two problems at the same time. So I'll put you with a team I know and I like, and I know they're quick. And you can help me bring GP3 forward in the following years, because he knows I might step up. So yeah, I mean, I'm very happy for Tiago. He's a very professional guy. People that know him knows this, and you know, Ocean has had some good results when they have the right guys in the car as well. And I think that's when you keep going up now, especially these championships where the car is the same for everyone. The driver has a lot to say, and then obviously the teams have these little details to bring the car up until the end of the races, etc. So I'm really happy for Tiago. I know he's the right guy to put Portugal on the map on the racing, because in motorsport, because we are going down every time a little bit, and especially the country is in hard times now. But I think the country needs this. You know, they need good stories, good things to motivate the people here, because you turn on the TV and it's only bad news. And I think it's the perfect time to have another Portuguese driver in F1 in the next couple of years.
Well, I couldn't agree more, and very best of luck with your endeavours with that. Look forward to talking to you again. We'll keep in touch with you
Yeah, for
throughout
sure.
the season.
Yeah.
Hope all goes well with you. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. It was nice to talk to you.